We got a bunch of Nintendo news to talk about, including the My Nintendo store is getting a name change. Also, Nintendo apologizes for something very interesting, and a new budget has been found in Nintendo as a whole that could be leading into some brand new system or something else. So, what's going on, everyone? How's your day going? Let's get straight into the video. Okay, so starting everything off, Nintendo president wants the Nintendo Switch 2 to have a long lifespan like the original Nintendo Switch. So it seems like if you had any hopes and dreams of getting a brand new system in 2032, well, it seems like it's going to be a long time even past that, so probably 2035 before you can even think of getting a brand new console. Now I know, the Nintendo Switch is just released, and that's pretty fantastic. Now, we definitely have a lot of things to talk about this new system. So recently, Nintendo had their financial briefing, and they shared a lot of things that are going on within Nintendo as a whole. And one thing that they're spending their budget on is, in fact, research and development. So now, if you take a look at this, it says Nintendo has increased R&D expenses by 23%, which is honestly really crazy. So what do you think about it? They could be researching for a new Nintendo Switch 2, like a Nintendo Switch 2 Lite, or potentially even something else for the Nintendo Switch 2. At this point, we knew that Nintendo was going to be planning some sort of dual screen sort of thing, so potentially that's what they're going on to do. They're going to make a secondary screen for the Nintendo Switch 2, or this could just be a Switch 2 Lite or a Switch 2 digital version that saves you $50, since the price is going to be going up on the original Switch, so who knows? Because for the first time ever, it seems like digital games are selling more than physical games, so that's definitely a very interesting thing. Nintendo has apologized to customers for the Switch 2 price increases. Aw, so adorable. They didn't want to raise the prices on the Nintendo Switch 2, but they had to due to market conditions. It honestly seems at this point that Nintendo is losing money on the Nintendo Switch 2, but they're going to be getting the money back when it comes to selling games. That's why the games, usually the digital ones now, are actually cheaper than the physical ones, so they can try to debunk that whole theory. Who knows what's going on here? Definitely is very interesting, however. Now, I wanted to take a look at this right here. You can actually try out Yoshi and the Mysterious Book for completely free if you just go to a retailer kiosk. So you can try out pretty much the whole game if you can beat it within 30 minutes, which is not the case, but you can try out the game. It's out there on the kiosk, so I hope that you find yourself Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, because you should be able to try something else. Now, Ember Labs says working on a Zelda game in the future would be really exciting. Now, honestly, this is pretty cool in a lot of ways. It seems like potentially Nintendo's going to let these developers work on another Zelda game. Who knows what's going to be happening? Maybe they will, maybe not. Definitely really cool. This morning you probably woke up to a Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess unofficial port PC release. Now, I don't know why this has been circulating and floating across the internet, but it's definitely really interesting. And the funny thing is, it's actually not technically illegal when you think about it. It's not technically like the main bad parts of the sort of ROM when it comes to it. It's just more like a patch. So yeah, this is definitely really interesting. It adds a lot, like widescreen support. It pretty much is based on the sort of GameCube version, but adds Wii U features. Overall, it's definitely really interesting. Then we also have Star Fox music came to Nintendo Switch Online. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's honestly really cool to see this, because who doesn't like this? Also, we have to talk about My Nintendo Store is not going to be called My Nintendo Store for too much longer. It's actually just going to be called Nintendo Store. Yeah, a little bit disappointing. I know, very disappointing. Okay, so for our last announcement here, Nintendo says it's preparing a robust software lineup to enhance the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I've talked about this earlier today, and it definitely is very interesting. It seems like Nintendo is leaning towards the sort of remasters and remakes of older games, then to like make a new game for 2026. It's definitely really interesting when you take a look at this, so consider to check out that video if you want to. It goes over everything that we could see from the leaks to rumors, the information that we know so far. But anyways, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think that this is interesting or not so interesting? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. Consider to hit the like button, maybe subscribing if you're new. We do a bunch of different Nintendo news content on this channel. We also have Slinky Pluto, which is Pokemon channel, and Slinky Pluto 8013, which is everything Nintendo. Anyways, thank you so much. See you in the next one.